The following lesson is linked to Learning Outcome 2, Reading and Viewing, and addresses the assessment standard that requires learners to identify and explain message and theme, and recognize how dialogue and action are related to character and theme. Love conquers all, discrimination and dealing with being different, courage in the face of danger. These are just a few of the themes which may be explored or developed in a piece of literature. In this lesson, we will consider some of the themes in the play that we are studying, The Suitcase. We'll also give you some suggestions on how to determine the themes in a play so that you can apply these skills to other plays that you may study or watch. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to define theme, identify themes in a play, and discuss how the theme develops as the play unfolds. Let's clarify what we mean by theme. A theme is the idea or line of thought that is explored, expressed, and developed in a work of literature. If you have been with us since the start of this series of lessons, by now you may be able to state which themes or key ideas are developed in the play The Suitcase. We asked James Ngobo, the director and playwright of The Suitcase, what the main themes of the play are.
The universality of the story, again, for me, was the other thing that drew me to the story, and because I still firmly believe that you can take this play and go to Denmark and direct it with Danish actors, and all you have to do is to change the names of places and the names of characters, because Timmy's pain and his journey is universal, and the themes that are in the play, it is wherever you go, anywhere in the world, a man, no matter what new ideas that we have because of the times we live in, a man provides for his family. And that is universal, and that brings a theme of pride, and the theme of love. There's also the theme of duality. Of I spoke about different hats earlier, and it's another theme that I explore. That this man comes home, and when he arrives, his wife treats him like a god, and to get work, he spends every day with cap in hand, and that is another theme that gets explored in the piece. And the theme of neighborly love, when you put a whole lot of displaced people, they then find comfort in each other. And there's a theme of longing, of a theme of searching for that which you don't, so there are a whole lot of themes that I had to sort of borrow from the original story, and the ones that I added, in the original story, the policeman is white, and in my adaptation, I made him black to explore the theme of power, within the same people, and how that policeman sort of enjoys seeing Timmy the subservient, and the cop treats Timmy like a dog, and when he goes to his superiors, he's the dog. You know what I mean? And so that is a theme of power.
The Suitcase explores a number of themes, and depending on which parts of the story an audience member can relate to, different people will pay more attention to certain themes. Some people may have been able to identify with Timmy's loss of pride or Namhla's disintegrated dreams. Others may have been interested in the way the play portrays the promise of a bright future, and how in the end the innocence is replaced by experience. In this play, we also see how sometimes people's situations are affected by the social conditions of their context. For example, we wonder if many of Timmy's problems were created or worsened by apartheid policies of segregation. The play also shows how characters can experience hope and hopelessness in the face of difficult circumstances, as well as intense love and tenderness towards one another despite opposition from their families and circumstances. Even though the play is set in Mkhombane in the 1950s, a present-day audience watching this play in Johannesburg would still be able to relate to many of these themes because they have universal application. In other words, losing your innocence and gaining experience is not something that only Timi and Namhla have gone through. It is something that happens all over the world to lots of different people living in completely different times. So far, we know that themes are big ideas and that they need to be universal. But how do we go about identifying them in a play? The actors don't come onto the stage and tell you this play is all about hope and hopelessness. But if you know where to look, you can work out what the themes are from the clues that you are given. For starters, you need to consider the plot, or how the series of events in a play are used to explore different issues. Then you need to think about the characters and what you learn about their personalities, values, and experiences, as this gives insight into what ideas or themes are important. And finally, you need to think about the language that is used, as what is said and how it is said can highlight key ideas. To see how this works in practice, let's see how the theme of love and tenderness despite opposition has been developed in the play The Suitcase. Watch the following scene and see if you can work out how the plot shows what a loving and tender relationship Timi and Namhla share.
My mother was always like that. Only happy when things go her way. Go to Timi Wam. He sent Lobola, and with a heavy heart, she had to accept it. You see, I loved Timi too dearly to worry about the world. Go with family Katini. They had their own issues. They were no angels themselves. They never liked me. They kept saying to Timi, Timi just laughed. With all these battles to fight, like walls coming down on us, we knew life would be hard with our families around. We had to go. Timi came to me one night and said, Namhla, this is enough. Pack everything. Tomorrow, we leave for the city. I put everything together. It wasn't much anyway. We left, with my mother still cursing. Nisa, happy, wondrous, all your life. I didn't care. Timi and I had a life waiting for us in the city, whatever that meant.
Understanding the plot or story of how Namhla and Timi came to be in the city helps us to understand more about their relationship. We realize that neither of their families supported their marriage, and this makes us realize that they must have really loved one another to get married anyway. Knowing that they left the village to start a new life where their love would not be opposed also makes us think about what a special relationship they share. A theme, however, isn't just demonstrated at one point of the play. It is woven through the whole story. So, watch the next scene and see how it develops the theme of love and tenderness further.
I can't sit by and watch you sink into this hole day after day. We walked this road together. It's been hard, yes, but we did it together, and this is where it has brought us. Open your eyes, Timi. Let me go out to look for work. It doesn't matter what. A domestic, a washerwoman, something. I was saying to say, even where there's no pot to boil, there should be fire.
From the way that the plot is developed in this scene, we learn that city life involves a whole new set of problems for the couple, and that their loving relationship has to survive more challenges. Despite these challenges, they continue to show tenderness towards one another. Timi prepared to move back to the village, and Namhla is prepared to look for a job so that they can continue to be together. Now watch this scene to see how the interaction between the characters further develops this theme.
Timi. You're back. So, how did it go? Did you have a good day?
Now, stop me with all these questions. I go over to Bupatili. Also, something that I know.
Thank you. So I hope you didn't get
This scene shows the playful and tender relationship that Dimi and Namhla share, even though Dimi still hasn't found a job and they're struggling financially. We see how desperately Dimi wants to provide for his wife, and in turn, Namhla shows how grateful she is to Dimi for trying to be a good husband to her. Here's another interaction that shows the couple being loving despite further complications.
Dimi,
Yeah.
it's kicking.
Who's kicking?
The baby.
The baby.
We know that a baby will add an additional financial challenge. However, instead of thinking about the expense of a baby or how it will prevent Namhla from seeking work, they see the baby as a product of their love. We can see evidence of this in the tender and gentle way that Dimi approaches Namhla and places his head on her stomach, and in the way that Namhla and Dimi exchange loving glances. So far, we've seen how the theme is conveyed by the plot and the interactions between the characters. Now let's see how it is developed in the language of the play. Listen to the following monologue in which Namhla describes a relationship with Dimi. See if you can pick out key words and phrases that show her love and tenderness towards him.
Dimi. Dimi wakangobese. He was mine. All mine. I just adored everything about him. His smile, his walk, the way he spoke, his heart, everything. With Dimi and I, we never had it easy from the beginning. We just knew it wasn't going to be easy.
In this monologue, Namhla's love for Dimi is obvious. She repeats the idea that he was mine, showing how much she values him being her husband, and the list of things she adores about Dimi also emphasizes that there was nothing she didn't love about him. However, the final line, "we just knew it wasn't going to be easy," shows that as much as she loves him, she's aware of the difficulties that they would face. Earlier on in this lesson, we mentioned that themes in literature are universal. To demonstrate this, think for a minute of the play Romeo and Juliet. Although the time period, setting and context of this play are completely different to that of The Suitcase, both plays address the theme of love despite difficulties and challenges. In addition to being universal, a theme is a big idea that should get the audience thinking. Perhaps the clips you have seen from The Suitcase have got you thinking about your own relationships and what difficulties you would be prepared to face for true love. Before we go, here's a checklist that you can use to help you determine the themes in a play. In terms of plot, ask yourself what key issues are raised in the story. With regards to characters, ask questions like, how do they behave, what do they say, and how do they relate to other characters? And lastly, to deduce themes from the language that is used, ask questions like, what words or phrases are repeated or related? What symbols and images are used? And what ideas are often referred to? Keeping those questions in mind, it's time for today's task. Watch the following clip from the denouement of the play The Suitcase. Explain how this clip demonstrates the theme of love and tenderness despite opposition. In your answer, consider how the theme is carried by the plot, the characters' actions, and the language that is used.
Dimi. Nkungeba. Sihayi. I don't like coming to this graveyard, Dimi. But I have to see you. I've got good news, Dimi. It's a boy. A tiny fat boy with your eyes. He smiles a lot. I named him Luvuyo just like you told me. Happiness. He'll bring us happiness, Dimi. Just wait. You'll see. We're fine. I have to keep going for all of us.
A great play with thought-provoking themes will always leave you with something to think about. This is what producer Regina Seabright had to say about the power of themes in theatre.
And to understand that it engages you inside, and that you don't always realize when you come out of the theatre that this was a special experience. It might actually take days or weeks, and it keeps coming back to you. You know, remember when they said that, or did you see how she behaved when that happened? And it really feeds your soul. It feeds you as a human being. It makes you grow because you also see experiences outside your own little world. So you actually see a broader world and other people's experience. And I suppose it also helps us to see that the similarities between people are greater than the differences between people. I think theatre is very, very important.